Welcome back to Singapore Tonight, your business update. Now we've got more on Edelman's Trust Barometer report. Earlier, my colleagues took you through the readings on trust, polarization, as well as economic optimism. And we shine the light now on businesses. The survey finding that they are facing greater expectations and heightened risks. Well, yet more than 70% of Singaporean workers trust their employers. It's a slight 1 percentage point dip compared to the previous year. On a global scale, South Koreans score their employers the lowest and Indonesians the highest. Also, demand for the businesses to do good is high. The majority of Singaporeans expect their CEOs to take a public stand on issues like the treatment of employees, climate change, and discrimination. More than 60% of consumers in Singapore say they buy or advocate for brands based on their beliefs and values. Over 2/3 of employees also look for jobs that have a societal impact. Clara Lee finds out more about the range of causes that businesses champion here in Singapore.
Mattress maker King Coil Singapore believes in giving back to the community. The firm channels about 10% of its profits to scholarships for secondary school students. The money goes towards covering their school fees, for instance. It's also donated $30,000 to a welfare fund that provides uniforms and stationery for those who can't afford them. As part of its latest efforts, the company will be partnering organizations to help those with special needs by giving them a platform to interact with more people. Towards the end of the month, it will be holding its biannual sale at a shopping mall atrium, where it will designate a small space for them to sell handmade products such as pouches and keychains. The firm believes helping young Singaporeans can spark long-term social change and cultivate a culture of kindness.
I believe when they grown up, they will think back. They may also do their part, to the society, pay back to the society if they can. So I hope this is something that we can actually pass down to the different generations.
Small and medium-sized enterprises are also contributing to the community within their means. For one, this blinds retailer has donated some of its products to low-income households who don't have their own.
When we found out that they don't even have the basic curtain for their privacy, that's when we decided that this is the least we can do because we have that capability. We are in this business. Yeah, that's why we decided to help them.
The firm explains that such initiatives may help customers feel like their dollar goes a long way.
I think customers prefer to buy from companies that also serve a good cause. So probably when they spend their money, at the company, it also goes towards that same cause.
Looking ahead, the business is thinking of donating to even more people, such as orphanages and elderly care centres.
For more on the business case behind adopting a cause, we are joined by Shireen Fook, partner at KPMG ESG Singapore. Shireen, thanks for joining us. First of all, since when did consumers start, asking more of businesses? Where is the demand coming from?
I think having certain expectations of businesses beyond the economic performance is not something new. But we have seen a huge growth in it in the last 10 years or so, starting with the West and then coming through to Asia, right?
And could you probably, elaborate on, some of the trends out there, since you're saying this is not new, and it seems a lot of it is on sustainability or inclusivity. Are there some emerging causes that could make a difference for corporates?
Definitely. I think social justice is a huge theme that is coming up for many of us, as well as for many different employees. We want to work with companies that are purposeful, that have a sense of responsibility towards the society, and we're increasingly more discerning around the companies that we work for and also the companies that we transact with. One fuel for the growth is really around access to data and information. Of course, technology has played a huge part in enabling platforms where opinions, ratings, experiences with different companies are shared. And that creates a heightened sense of accountability for companies to be able to live up to the values or the representations that they are putting out to the market.
Now, Shireen, where is the balance between businesses doing genuine good and social washing, if you will?
Of course, intention will play a huge part of it, but some other earmarks we will look at would be consistency and accountability. So I think this is tested over time. So for clients, companies who are consistently doing good and with that good intention, usually we are able to measure the outcome, cumulative social capital that is built up over time. We are able to communicate that in a manner that is understandable for different people. For example, by assigning economic proxies, you see that there is much more greater alignment of purpose as well as benefits for all parties.
Well, it's not just companies that are backing causes. Corporate leaders, they're also fronting them. Why are we seeing more of this?
It's important for employees, customers, consumers, different parts, different stakeholders of the companies to be engaged, right, in a dialogue and alignment of purpose with the leaders of the company. It is also important, I think, as part of that entire trust building for companies to be able to communicate that they are indeed walking the talk. So one big part of it is how the business leaders represent themselves and how empathetic they are towards the issues on the ground and the very real issues that are facing their workforce or facing their clients. And we have seen varying levels of success among different business leaders in Singapore. Some of them have been really good at living out their values, communicating them, and having that clarity of vision shared with a wider group of stakeholders. Some of them have been much more reserved and really finding their way out now. And this is where we see a big difference in terms of the company's value being recognized in the marketplace.
Well, Shireen, could this trend have the reverse effect? So business leaders who are polarizing instead of unifying, and what is the wider impact?
Business leaders have a huge amount of influence, I think, because the business decisions they make have impacts on different people's livelihoods, right? As well as the kind of impacts that they create through their products and services. And taking a stand on controversial social issues can sometimes be a scary thing. But when we see business leaders taking the moral courage and a step forward to address issues around inclusivity, around issues around equity, access, fairness, or issues that are difficult to handle. For example, during a hard time, how do you help your workers go through a difficult time? Or how do you help others transition into a different set of skills? Being able to share can be actually much more cohesive than before.
Well, Shireen, thank you so much for speaking with us. I've been speaking with Shireen Fok, partner at KPMG ESG Singapore.